took 9 years before but I began to play the nightclubs in and around Southern California. 5 sets a night, fist fights galore, and
Dwight Yoakam is back in the news, and people are paying close attention. After some quiet years away from the spotlight, the famous country singer has returned with news breaking the headlines. Fans are split, critics are talking, and the music world is watching closely again. What is behind this return, and why does it feel like something important is happening right now? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. The latest about Dwight Yoakam is breaking the headlines. For many people, Dwight Yoakam is one of the most recognizable names in country music. His voice, his style, and his songs helped shape an entire generation of country music fans. But long before he became famous, his journey was filled with rejection, struggle, and disappointment. Dwight Yoakam was born in Kentucky in 1956. When he was still young, his family moved to Ohio. As a boy, he loved music. He listened to old country singers and spent countless hours learning songs. While many young people around him were interested in newer styles of music, Dwight was drawn to the traditional country sounds of earlier generations. He admired artists who sang with emotion and honesty. He loved songs that told stories about real life, heartbreak, hard work, and survival. These songs spoke to him in a way that other music did not. As he grew older, he became determined to build a career as a country singer. Like many young artists, Dwight believed Nashville was the place where dreams came true. Nashville was known as the capital of country music. If a singer wanted success, that was where they usually went. Dwight hoped that record companies would hear his talent and give him a chance. Things did not happen the way he expected. When he tried to get attention in Nashville, many people rejected him. Music executives did not think his sound would sell. They believed his style was too old-fashioned. They wanted singers who sounded smoother and more polished. They wanted music that would appeal to a wider audience. Dwight refused to change who he was. Instead of following the latest trends, he stayed loyal to the traditional country sound he loved. This decision made his path much harder. Doors continued to close in front of him. Opportunities disappeared. Many people would have given up after facing so much rejection. Dwight did not. Rather than changing his music, he changed his location. He left Nashville and moved to Los Angeles. At the time, Los Angeles was not known for country music. It was a city filled with rock bands, punk groups, actors, and entertainers from many different backgrounds. At first, it seemed like an unusual choice. However, Los Angeles gave Dwight something Nashville never did. It gave him a chance. He started performing in clubs and small venues. Sometimes he appeared on the same stage as punk bands and rock musicians. Many people thought the combination was strange. Traditional country music and punk rock seemed like complete opposites, but something unexpected happened. Young audiences connected with him. They saw honesty in his music. They saw someone who was different and unwilling to follow the crowd. His songs carried a raw energy that appealed to people who were tired of manufactured entertainment. Slowly, his fan base began to grow. The crowds became larger. More people started talking about him. Industry professionals began paying attention. Eventually, a record company recognized his potential and offered him a chance to reach a national audience. When his music was released across the country, everything changed. His songs quickly gained attention. Fans loved the traditional sound he brought back to country music. Critics praised him for staying true to his roots. As his popularity increased, so did his influence. Many fans believed he had saved traditional country music from disappearing. He reminded listeners of what country music originally sounded like. He brought back the spirit of older artists and introduced that sound to a new generation. His appearance also became part of his identity. The cowboy hat, the tight jeans, and the confident stage presence made him stand out from other performers. Throughout the late 80s and early 90s, Dwight continued to release successful music. Each new project strengthened his reputation. He became known not only as a talented singer, but also as someone who would never compromise his artistic vision. Yet success came with a price. The demands of fame were enormous. Touring schedules were exhausting. Recording sessions consumed his time. Interviews, promotions, and performances filled his calendar. While the public saw a confident star enjoying success, few understood how much pressure existed behind the scenes. The higher he climbed, the more responsibility he carried. Expectations continued to grow. By the early 90s, he had become one of the biggest names in country music. The young man who had once been told he would never succeed had proven everyone wrong. He had transformed rejection into motivation and built a career that few could match. His story became an example of what can happen when a person refuses to give up. Yet, as Dwight Yoakam stood at the peak of his career, enjoying fame, fortune, and the respect of millions, a new chapter was about to begin. What happened when the country music rebel turned his attention to Hollywood? And what personal struggles were waiting behind the spotlight? Stay tuned for more. Fame, family, health rumors, and the legacy of Dwight Yoakam. As Dwight Yoakam's success continued to grow, he began looking beyond music. Most people already knew him as one of the biggest names in country music, but he wanted to challenge himself in new ways. He had always been interested in acting and believed he could do more than stand on a stage and sing songs. Many musicians have tried acting over the years, but not all of them succeed. Audiences often see them as singers pretending to be actors. Dwight faced the same challenge. People wondered if he could truly perform on screen or if he would simply play a version of himself. He quickly proved the doubters wrong. When he appeared in movies, audiences saw a completely different side of him. He showed that he could play difficult and complex characters. Critics praised his performances, and directors began offering him more roles. Before long, he was building a second career in Hollywood while continuing to remain a major figure in country music. To many people, it seemed like Dwight had everything. He had fame, money, successful albums, sold-out concerts, and a growing acting career. From the outside, his life appeared perfect. But life is rarely as simple as it looks. Behind the fame, Dwight often struggled with loneliness. He was known for being a private person. Unlike many celebrities who shared every detail of their lives, he preferred to keep his personal matters away from the public eye. He rarely spoke about relationships, family matters, or private struggles. This mystery made people even more curious about him. Over the years, stories about possible relationships appeared in magazines and newspapers. Some reports linked him to famous actresses and public figures. However, Dwight rarely discussed these rumors. He seemed determined to protect his private life from the attention that came with fame. Many people who knew him described a man who was deeply committed to his work. Music and acting demanded most of his time. Touring required months on the road. Film projects often took him away from home. Success brought opportunities, but it also brought sacrifices. As the years passed, country music began to change. A new generation of artists arrived. The sound heard on radio stations became more polished and more influenced by pop music. The industry moved in a different direction. Once again, Dwight found himself standing apart from the crowd. Just as he had done at the beginning of his career, he refused to change simply to fit industry trends. Instead of chasing popularity, he remained loyal to the style that made him successful in the first place. Because of this, his public appearances slowly became less frequent. New albums arrived less often. Tours became less common. Fans noticed that he seemed to be stepping away from the spotlight. Many people wondered why. In 2020, he surprised many fans by marrying his longtime partner, Emily Joyce. The wedding was private and simple. It reflected the way Dwight had always lived his personal life. He did not seek attention. He did not turn the event into a major public spectacle. Instead, he chose to celebrate quietly with those closest to him. Later that same year, he became a father. For many fans, this was one of the most unexpected chapters of his life. Now he was embracing family life and new responsibilities. Friends reportedly noticed changes in him. Fatherhood seemed to give him a new purpose. The excitement of raising a child offered something that fame and success could never fully provide. For the first time in many years, it appeared that Dwight was focusing more on home than on the entertainment industry. At the same time, new concerns began appearing in the media. Fans started noticing changes in his appearance. Some believed he looked thinner than before. Others thought he appeared more tired during public appearances. Videos and photographs quickly spread across the internet, leading to widespread discussion. Soon, rumors about his health began circulating. Some reports suggested that he might be dealing with medical problems. Others pointed to canceled appearances and postponed performances as possible signs of deeper issues. Social media only made the speculation grow faster. The reality was much less clear. Despite all the rumors, no major illness was officially confirmed. Much of the discussion was based on observations, assumptions, and online speculation rather than verified facts. The truth is that time eventually catches everyone. The energetic performer who once dominated stages in the 80s and 90s was now approaching his 70s. Naturally, he could not move exactly as he once did. Yet for fans who remembered him at the height of his powers, accepting this reality was not easy. Even with all the rumors and uncertainty, one thing remains beyond question. Dwight Yoakam's impact on country music is secure. His songs continue to reach new listeners. Younger artists still cite him as an influence. His work helped preserve a style of country music that many feared would disappear forever. The boy who once played in small Ohio clubs had become a country music superstar. Yet behind the hit songs and sold-out concerts, another story was unfolding. What price would Dwight Yoakam pay for success? And how close would he come to losing everything he had worked so hard to build? Let's delve deeper. The rise, the fall, and the lasting legacy of Dwight Yoakam. Long before Dwight Yoakam became one of the most recognizable names in country music, he was simply a young man trying to find his place in the world. Like many dreamers, he started small. He did not begin on giant stages or in front of thousands of screaming fans. His journey started in local clubs, small gatherings, and places where very few people knew his name. During those early years, he formed a local group known as the Greaser Band. The band performed wherever they could find an audience. They played at parties, bars, and small events throughout Ohio. The money was not great, and fame was nowhere in sight. But those experiences became the foundation of everything that came later. Those performances taught Dwight valuable lessons. He learned how to connect with people. He learned how to hold the attention of a room. He learned how to keep going even when audiences were small and opportunities were limited. Most importantly, he discovered that music was not simply something he enjoyed. It was something he needed. Every performance pushed him closer to the dream he refused to abandon. As the years passed, Dwight became determined to take his career further. One of the most important moments of his life came when he met guitarist and producer Pete Anderson. Many people would later describe this meeting as the turning point that changed everything. Pete immediately understood what Dwight was trying to create. While many people in the music industry failed to see the value in his traditional country sound, Pete saw something special. He recognized the honesty in Dwight's music and the power of his storytelling. The two men quickly formed a partnership that would last for nearly 20 years. Pete became far more than a producer. He became a trusted friend, creative partner, and one of the most important people in Dwight's professional life. Together, they worked tirelessly to build a sound that blended traditional country music with fresh energy and emotion. Their partnership helped create the music that would eventually make Dwight famous. Despite their talent and determination, success did not arrive overnight. Money was often tight. Refusing to give up, he borrowed money from friends and supporters to record an independent project. That project became Guitars, Cadillacs, etc., etc. At first, the project circulated through underground music scenes. People who heard it recognized something different. The songs sounded real. The emotions felt genuine. There was pain, honesty, heartbreak, and truth in his voice. Word spread quickly. More listeners discovered the music. His songs climbed the charts. Concert crowds grew larger. His reputation expanded far beyond the local clubs where he had once struggled for attention. One of the most historic moments of his rise came when the music video for Honky Tonk Man achieved something nobody thought possible. It became the first country music video ever played on MTV. At the time, MTV was dominated by rock and pop artists. Country music rarely received attention there. Dwight's appearance on the network helped introduce country music to entirely new audiences. As his career expanded, so did public interest in his personal life. Over the years, Dwight was linked to several well-known women, including actresses and entertainers. These relationships often attracted media attention, but Dwight remained extremely private. He rarely discussed romance publicly and preferred to keep his personal life away from headlines whenever possible. Friends often described him as loyal and caring, but also deeply guarded. Fame can make relationships difficult. Long periods on the road, demanding work schedules, and constant public attention create challenges that many people never fully understand. Although he experienced several meaningful relationships, lasting stability often seemed difficult to find. In 2000, he invested enormous amounts of time, energy, and personal money into a Western film called South of Heaven, West of Hell. The project was deeply important to him. He was not only acting in the film, but also helping shape many aspects of its production. He believed it could become one of his greatest accomplishments. Unfortunately, events unfolded very differently. Financial support disappeared at critical moments. Costs continued rising. Problems multiplied. Instead of walking away, Dwight committed even more of his own resources to keep the project alive. Reports indicate that he sold valuable assets, including his Malibu home, in an effort to save the production. It was a gamble driven by passion and determination. When the film finally reached audiences, the results were disappointing. The movie failed commercially and became a major financial setback. What had started as a dream project turned into one of the most painful experiences of his professional life. The losses extended beyond money. The stress damaged relationships and created tensions that would linger for years. Perhaps the most painful consequence involved his partnership with Pete Anderson. After nearly 2 decades of working together, the relationship eventually came to an end. Financial strain, professional disagreements, and the pressures surrounding the failed film contributed to their separation. Even after these setbacks, Dwight continued moving forward. He kept recording music, performing, and acting. Although the challenges left scars, they did not erase his accomplishments. His influence on country music remained undeniable. Today, Dwight Yoakam's legacy stretches far beyond hit songs and record sales. He helped revive traditional country music when many believed it was disappearing. So, how did these early experiences shape the way he developed his sound, his confidence, and his approach to making music in the years that followed? Let's find out. Dwight Yoakam's journey through struggle, rejection, and musical identity. Dwight Yoakam's early music journey took a very tough and rough path before he became well-known. After leaving Nashville without success, he moved to Southern California. There, he did not find an easy or comfortable start. He had to perform in small nightclubs and local rock bars where the environment was loud, crowded, and often unpredictable. He would play many sets in one night, sometimes up to 5 different performances in a single evening. The work was tiring and demanded strong energy. The places he played were not always calm. Sometimes fights would break out in the crowd. Sometimes things like bottles were thrown. Even though this kind of situation was dangerous and stressful, he did not stop. He kept performing again and again. This period slowly helped him grow stronger as a performer. He learned how to stay calm even when the crowd was not calm. He learned how to keep singing and playing even when things around him were not perfect. This experience helped shape his music style. He began mixing old country sound with a more bold and lively stage style. This mix later became part of what people called his special sound. The hard club life also helped him build confidence. It gave him real practice in front of live crowds that did not always support him. Over time, he became better at controlling the stage and keeping audience attention even in rough conditions. Before all this success, Dwight Yoakam also had a misunderstanding about how the Nashville music system worked. When he first went there, he thought that being a good live performer would open doors for him. He believed that if he could perform well on stage, people would notice him and give him a chance. But he later learned that Nashville worked in a different way. The system there was more focused on songwriting and music publishing. It was not mainly focused on live shows or stage performance. This meant that even if a person was very good on stage, it did not always lead to success in that city. His style was also different from what was popular at the time. He liked old country sound and raw performance. But the music industry there was moving toward a more modern and polished sound. Because of this difference, he did not fit easily into the system. This is one of the reasons why he was not accepted at first. It was not because he had no talent, but because the system was looking for something different. Later, this understanding helped explain why his path took a different direction. Long before all of this, Dwight Yoakam already had early experiences that shaped who he became. As a teenager, he was very active in music and performance. He took part in school music groups and played instruments. He was also involved in small stage shows and school events. At one point, he helped organize and lead a student band. This group performed at school functions and small community events. He also took part in theater activities, which helped him understand how to perform in front of people. These early moments gave him practice in standing in front of an audience without fear. He learned how to manage nerves and how to hold attention. These skills stayed with him as he grew older. They helped him when he later performed in real music venues. These early years were important because they gave him the first taste of what it means to be on stage and connect with people through performance. It also helped him understand that music was not only about sound, but also about presence and emotion. Throughout his career, Dwight Yoakam also held on to a special idea about emotion in music. He often thought about the feeling he had when he was very young, around 16 years old. That time was full of strong emotions, excitement, and fear mixed in. He remembers that feeling clearly and tries to bring it into his music even as an adult. He believes that music should feel real and alive, not controlled or too planned. When he performs or records, he tries to stay connected to that early feeling of freedom and energy. He compares it to standing on stage and feeling both nervous and excited at the same time. That feeling gives his music its strong emotional power. It is not just about singing notes or playing instruments. It is about feeling something deep and sharing it with others. He continues to use that same mindset in his work, even after many years in the music industry. As time passed, his music style also changed and grew. He worked on different albums over the years and explored new ways of making music. Some of his later work showed a more relaxed and open creative process. He did not always follow strict rules in the studio. Instead, he allowed music to develop naturally. Sometimes he recorded songs in simple ways and kept the raw sound instead of trying to make everything perfect. He also worked with other artists who influenced his approach. These collaborations helped him try new ideas and trust simple recordings. This made his later music feel more natural and less controlled. It showed that even after many years in the industry, he was still willing to learn and change. His later work reflects both experience and freedom, showing a balance between skill and creative openness. After years of staying quiet and away from the spotlight, what new developments in Dwight Yoakam's life and music marked the beginning of his return to public attention? Let's learn more. Dwight Yoakam's return, new music, and public comeback. Dwight Yoakam is a well-known country music artist who built his name by doing things in his own way. Over the years, he became known for a style that mixed old country sound with a rough and honest feel. After a long time away from major public attention, he has now returned to the spotlight at the age of 68. This return is not just a normal comeback. It is being seen as a big moment in his life and career because it comes after many years of changes in the music world and in his personal life. His return is closely connected to a new album called Brighter Days. This album is described as a very personal work. It is not just made for entertainment. It is built from deep thoughts and real-life feelings. The songs in the album talk about growing older, thinking about the past, feeling alone at times, and trying to understand life in a clearer way. It also reflects on fatherhood and how becoming a parent changed how he sees the world. The music is soft in some parts, strong in others, but always emotional and honest in tone. One of the most talked about parts of the album is a song made with Post Malone. The song brings two very different music styles together. This surprised many people. Some listeners liked the mix because it felt fresh and new. Others felt it was very different from the kind of country music Dwight is known for. Still, the main idea behind the song is simple. It is about saying goodbye, about loss, and about holding on to memories. It shows that Dwight is not afraid to try new things even after many years in music. The album was created during quiet moments in his home in California. During this time, he spent a lot of time thinking and writing. He was not always in the public eye, and he often worked alone. According to the story, he kept writing music even when he felt like people were not listening anymore. This makes the album feel more personal. It is like a private diary turned into music. The emotions inside it come from real-life experiences, not just ideas made for fame or success. Along with the album, he also returned to live performing with a big tour. The tour covers many places, from small towns to large cities. Many shows sold out quickly, showing that people still care about his music. The audience is not only older fans who have followed him for years. Some younger people discovered his songs through online platforms. At these concerts, he performs both old songs and new ones. This mix helps connect his past work with his current message, showing how his music has grown over time. As Dwight Yoakam returns to the stage with new music and emotional performances that connect both old and new fans, how are audiences reacting to this comeback, and what challenges is he facing as he continues this demanding tour? Let's take a closer look. Audience reactions, life pressure, and final reflection. As Dwight Yoakam continues his tour, the reactions from audiences have been very strong. Many people describe the shows as emotional experiences rather than just concerts. Some fans have been seen crying during certain songs, especially those that talk about time passing, loss, and memories that cannot be brought back. His music seems to connect deeply with people because it feels real and personal. It speaks to feelings that many people understand in their own lives. At some performances, Dwight himself has shown strong emotion. There are moments where he pauses during songs to speak to the audience or to thank them for staying with him over the years. These moments make the concerts feel more personal and close. It is not just a performer on stage. It feels like a man sharing his life story through music in front of people who truly listen. This kind of connection is rare and makes each show feel special. However, the tour is also very demanding. Dwight is now in his late 60s, and performing again and again is not easy. Reports describe him as sometimes tired from the travel and constant shows. There are also mentions of small health concerns during the tour. Even with these challenges, he continues to perform. He has spoken about the idea that this may be one of his last major tours, which adds even more meaning to every performance. It feels like he is giving everything he has while he still can. In this stage of his life, his journey is no longer only about fame or success. It is more about meaning and legacy. He seems focused on what he will leave behind for his family, especially his son. His return to music is shaped by this feeling. It is not just about singing songs on stage. It is about sharing his truth, his experiences, and his memories with others before this chapter of his life closes. Overall, Dwight Yoakam's current period is seen as a deeply reflective one. He is not trying to chase trends or change who he is. Instead, he is using his music and performances to express who he has become over many years. This makes his present journey feel honest, emotional, and full of purpose. What do you think about the legacy of Dwight Yoakam? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for following this journey into the life and music of Dwight Yoakam. If this story made you think differently about music and legacy, like and subscribe. Click the next video to continue exploring more stories. See you in the next one.